This show is sponsored by MidasResources.com, your trusted source for precious metals since 1996. Call Midas today at 1-800-686-2237.
Good morning, greetings, friends, and welcome to The Bright Side, your nutritional program dedicated to the understanding of the vast world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. I'm your host, Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado, registered pharmacist number 12275. I specialize in using nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs and deadly medical procedures. If you suspect that there are natural nutritional roads to your vitality, to your health and well-being, and to addressing your health challenges, whatever they may be, but you don't know where to begin, you have come to the right place. As you listen to The Bright Side every day, you are more and more in control of your body, you are more and more knowledgeable, and you know you can overcome any health issue. That is why we are here every day on The Bright Side, helping clear up the sometimes confusing world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Over the last 28 years of practicing pharmacy, I have seen drug-free recoveries from diabetes and hypertension and obesity and skin diseases like acne, psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, digestive ailments, autoimmune issues of all kinds, recoveries that by the standards of modern medicine can only be called a miracle, but what is in the world of the body, what is in the world of biology, standard operating procedure, because the human biological system is a healing system. It's a regenerating system. It is designed divinely to heal and renew itself on a moment-to-moment basis. And while some folks may call that healing, renewing, regenerating system a miracle, it really is just the way the body works. If you have questions about health or nutrition or prescription drugs, if you want to get off your medications and get on a good nutritional supplement program, we can help you. Our number is 855-660-4261. We welcome your phone calls on The Bright Side. 855-660-4261 is our number. If we've left you on hold yesterday or the day before and you call in today, just tell the call screener that you were left on hold. We'll get you first up at 855-660-4261. Try to call in early so we can squeeze in as many calls as possible at 855-660-4261. If you're interested in joining the Brightside Ben team, love to have you on my team. Call the Brightside Ben phone team at 866-735-2470. That's 866-735-2470 for a one-time $10 fee. You can start yourself a longevity business, earn some thank you checks, and just get your products at the wholesale price. If you so desire, you can help spread the word about the power and importance of a good nutritional supplement program as well, and get a lot of good information yourself. We're always sharing information. That's what we're about at Longevity, spreading the word and helping share information and education about the power of a good nutritional supplement program. Speaking of sharing information, every Sunday I want to welcome you to, or invite you to join us on our Sunday phone calls, myself and Dixie Sedgwick. Every Sunday we pick a particular topic and we do a 20-minute or so talk on one subject or another, and then we take questions for the last 10 minutes. It's a half-hour phone call. We covered the Swear V 3-day cleanse a couple of weeks ago. A couple days ago we did androgenic alopecia, so-called male pattern baldness, which also affects women. We've covered ALS and diabetes and the Healthy Start Pack and essential fatty acids. This coming week we'll do degenerative joint disease. If you're interested in joining us on our phone call, the dial-in number is 605-562-3140. That's 605-562-3140. Participant access code 444-973-POUND, 444-973-POUND, and that's every Sunday, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. All right, we are talking about the nature of prostaglandins and fats and signaling and hormone health. Last we spoke, we were talking about the nature of oppositions in the body, how there's various antagonistic processes that balance each other out. You've got blood vessels opening and blood vessels closing. They call it constriction and dilation, closing and opening, opening and closing, and these are all regulated by prostaglandins partially. You've got relaxing and contracting of muscles, once again, regulated by prostaglandins, and perhaps most significantly in terms of opposing chemistry in the body, you've got inflammation and anti-inflammation, once again, regulated at least partially by prostaglandins. Prostaglandins are signaling molecules, the hormones like if you understand what hormones are, they're like little doorbell switches, or they ring a doorbell, I should say, on a cell, and by ringing that doorbell, a reaction occurs in a cell. A cell's like a 3D printing machine. It's always printing stuff. It's making things. That's what a cell does with its life. It makes stuff. But it doesn't just make stuff willy-nilly. It doesn't just make stuff on its own. It makes stuff in response to little switches being turned on the outside coating of that cell. Those switches that get turned on are called receptors, and what turns on the switches are called hormones. And there's lots of different hormones. The ones we've been talking about now are called prostaglandins, and they're super important, especially, as I say, for the inflammatory process. Inflammation, as we are told, is behind a lot of what we call the disease process. But what this health truism about inflammation and disease doesn't really address is the fact that the inflammatory process is always occurring. Inflammation at the microscopic level is very, very important. It's not a bad guy. Excessive inflammation, out of balance inflammation, inappropriate inflammation, chronic inflammation, long-term inflammation. Indeed, that is a problem. But inflammation that occurs on a day-to-day, regular basis as part of the body's a way of doing business, just business as usual for the body, is just a normal protective response, and it's part of the healing process, and it's an important part of biochemistry. The relationship between anti-inflammation and inflammation is a balancing act. It's a balancing act between inflammation and anti-inflammation, and this balancing act is supposed to be regulated by the appropriate production and the appropriate ingestion of substances that induce the production of prostaglandins. That's basically food. It's basically food, and these days supplements, that are going to induce the production of prostaglandins and induce the production of the right balance of prostaglandins. Throughout history, and by throughout history I mean up until about 10,000 or 12,000 years ago, throughout most of human or humanoid history, our ancestors weren't exactly Homo sapiens, but our ancestors, Australopithecus and Homo habilis, and whatever they call these human ancestors back in the day, 100,000 years ago, 500,000 years ago, our ancestors were eating a balance of foods, or the type of foods that provided the appropriate balance of prostaglandin-inducing substances, specifically fats. We ate a lot of fish, we ate nuts, we ate natural foods that were growing out of the ground. And these kinds of foods provided us with the right balance of prostaglandin-inducing nutrients. These days, however, beginning around 12,000 years ago, actually, as food processing kicked in, our dietary intake of the wrong kinds of fats, the wrong kinds of prostaglandins, or out of balance, I should say, prostaglandin-inducing foods, has been progressing throughout the years, and it really has been progressing the last couple hundred years. We eat way more of the kinds of foods that induce inflammatory hormones, inflammatory prostaglandins, than anti-inflammatory prostaglandins, and this is mostly actually, where this out of balance, this out of kilter relationship between inflammatory chemicals and anti-inflammatory chemicals kicks in. The relationship between these chemicals, basically a relationship between omega-6 fats and omega-3 fats, is really about prostaglandins. Without getting too technical and too much biochemistry or chemistry, omega-6 fats get converted into inflammatory prostaglandins. Omega-3 fats get converted into anti-inflammatory prostaglandins. Your omega-6 fats are found in grains and seed oils, corn and safflower and soy, the kind of foods most of us are eating these days. Your omega-3s, much rarer, much harder to find, and those are basically in fish and some seeds, hemp seed, flax seed, chia seeds. Those are good sources of omega-3s. You'll get some omega-3s in spirulina and plankton and seaweed as well. There's some omega-3s in sprouts too. So back in the day, and by back in the day I mean 100,000, 150,000, 200,000 years ago, our ancestors were eating foods that gave them a kind of balance, an appropriate balance between omega-6s and omega-3s. Over the last 12,000 years or so, as we figured out how to farm and we figured out agriculture, certainly we get more calories and we're not starving. We don't go through famines like we did back in the day, but What we are doing is we're getting way more omega-6 fatty acids than omega-3 fatty acids, and that ends up causing problems with inflammation. By the way, there's one exception to this omega-6 causes inflammatory chemicals hypothesis or theory, and that is GLA, which we talked about yesterday. GLA is an omega-6 oil, but GLA actually is responsible for anti-inflammatory processes, unlike the other omega-6s, and I'll tell you what I mean when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side on the Genesis Communication Network. 855-660-4261 is our number. We'll be back right after this.
Ted Anderson telling you about Jordan Rubin's Beyond Organic Green-Fed Raw Cheddar Artesian Cheese featuring whole milk created through ancient dairy breeding, unpasteurized, untreated whole milk on the same farm the cows graze, containing natural sources of omega-3s, CLA protein, calcium, probiotics, and enzymes. I have never tasted cheese this good, and you need to try it. Contact your Longevity distributor or call 877-878-4203 or go to gcnteam.com. Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? They've been available since 1986, yet the financial industry won't recognize the value of gold for your retirement. Gold has outperformed paper investments, yet no word about IRAs. If you would like to have gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low returns. Call 800-686-2237. Secure your future and call 1-800-686-2237.
Mike Stenerson from Midas Resources. At no time in history have precious metals been more important, certainly not in my 22 years in the industry. The dollar has lost over 90% of its value in the last 60 years. No fiat currency has ever survived the government printing presses. Ours is not immune. The time is now to be proactive. 1-800-686-2237, extension 116. Anything tied to the dollar is at risk. CDs, annuities, 401ks, IRAs, stocks, bonds, you name it, so decide. Do you want to leave a legacy of wealth or debt for your family? The choice is yours. Call me at 1-800-686-2237, extension 116. That's 1-800-686-2237, extension 116. Be proactive, not reactive. Call 1-800-686-2237, extension 116.
We live in a complicated society. Stressful issues are always popping up. Have you ever been treated unfairly by someone? Have you ever been overcharged for a repair? Have you ever signed a contract or a document worried about identity theft? How many times have you been in those unique situations where you just wanted to call an attorney to find out if you're right or wrong, or what your legal rights are? But every time you think about calling an attorney, what do you think about first? That's right. Who do you call, and how much will it cost? Our friends at Legal Shield have found a solution. With a nationwide network of 6,900 attorneys who average 19 years of experience, Legal Shield's law firms take over 40,000 calls per week helping their members. For less than $20 per month, you can have access to Legal Shield on everything from the trivial to the traumatic. Let Legal Shield stand up for your rights at lsprotection.com. That's lsprotection.com. Or call 855-340-SAVE, 855-340-7283.
Results will vary from case to case.
I will never forget the day my son Jeremy told me he hated me and slammed the door in my face. I'm behavioral therapist Janet Lehman. Behavior problems can turn the child you love and your life into a nightmare. That's why my husband James and I created the Total Transformation, the step-by-step program that shows you how to fix the worst behavior problems and get your child to respect and listen to you again. No matter what the behavior, defiance, backtalk, angry outbursts, disrespect, we can help you stop it. Now you can get the Total Transformation for free. All you need to do is get the program and let us know how it works for you. You can keep it forever for free.
Limited number of free programs available. Call now. 1-888-912-1595. 1-888-912-1595. That's 1-888-912-1595. 1-888-912-1595.
Not just an alternative to the mainstream media. We're the premier independent talk radio network. We are GCN.
All
right, we are back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific and 10 to 11 Central Time, 24/7 on our archive page at brightsideben.com. You'll find a shopping cart up there with all the longevity products, including the Ultimate EFAs, which we've been talking about here for the last few days. Ultimate EFAs are your main source of prostaglandin building blocks. The Ultimate EFAs will get turned into prostaglandins, and if you use them regularly, you'll help your body make the right balance of prostaglandins. We'll talk about that here in just a sec. You can also find the Healthy Start Pack, the Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0, all the Jordan